What's up, y'all? This is Rom coming back at you with yet another car video. Game is simply mating dynamics. Having game means you mastered those dynamics. Yeah. And, this is kind of an addendum to my main video today, collaboration I did with Cousin T-Tall. The Alpha Showpiece and Levels of Game. A link for it is in the description box if you haven't already seen it. And definitely take your time, check out the whole thing. Because we go deep. We go deep into it. So check it out, right? I was thinking about, game. A lot of people, first of all, don't get caught up in the semantics of it. Don't get caught up in the semantics. Because you get a lot of guys, they think they smart. They say, you don't need game. Oh, I don't believe in game and all of that. That tells me they too caught up in the semantics instead of what it actually means. Right? What it actually means. Now, if you don't want to use the term game, fine. But how is it? What are you doing? How do you understand social dynamics out here? Mating social dynamics. And then how are you mastering that? That's the key. That is the key. And I thought about that because I saw this one channel. I see random stuff. And some dude was talking about, it wasn't his main subject, but he's talking about he don't believe in game and all of that. He thinks that's crazy. He said if a woman even like you or she doesn't, right? You don't have to do anything. But I would challenge him in an argument and say, no, because if you interacting with that woman, whatever strategy, whatever you did to get that woman was game. Because, some guy might say, well, I'm just straight up honest with him. I don't play any tricks or something. Okay, you don't play that style of game, but may he rest in peace, the grand master of verbal seduction, Alan Roger Curry, he strongly encouraged just being direct with women, being honest with women. He encouraged it. That was the base of everything he was saying. But that was his game. See, you don't get caught up in the semantics, but what the actual context of what the word is used for and what it's used for. So that was his game. Now, it's interesting, that same dude who would say something, and he would say, well, she's either attracted to you or she's not. Okay, what is it you doing to get her to be attracted to you? Okay, she sees you. Okay, attraction. Okay, I talk about body game, right? And then, I'll also throw in style and everything, letting the barber bless you. That's attraction. In fact, that's a very key part of it. Attraction. Why did she come over to you? Why she pick you out of hundreds of other men that she's seen? She found something about you. She found something about you that was attractive. Now some guys say, well, that ain't gay. She just found me attractive. Oh, on contrary. Because what did she find attractive about you? If she found your body build attractive, okay, you hit the gym, right? Body game. You hit the gym. You had to keep your body in a certain amount of shape. Now, somebody might say, well, what if she a guy don't be in the gym? Okay. And, he might be out of shape or underweight or something. Well, you still had to maintain it. And then you still have to have your clothing. What type of clothing are you wearing that presents your body form? Now, the young people, see, they understand it. They'll say you're fit. They'll say, oh, a nice fit. They'll look at, if you want an idea, some people like to tell me, oh, it's not the same. But I submit all these smash or pass videos. I submit it because the game that's in those videos is the exact same game I learned coming up. Looking good, keeping your hair cut right, and everything. And ultimately, a man's game, the attraction piece, is whatever he uses. If it works for him, that's what he uses. Like haircuts. Let me use an example of that. Because you know what? Always get some detractor or something. And I can always tell it's some dorky white guy. Yeah, I'm going to bring race into it. I can always tell. Because, and I'm going to explain why. Every now and then they'll say, oh, he bald or something, right? And they'll say it, and it's like, dude, first of all, a black man can have his head shaved bald. And then second of all, with myself personally, I lost count of how many women actually personally liked my head shaved. And even told me to, including Thelma from Good Times, Bernadette Stannis. I've told that story before. I met her at a hair show. And, you know, I had some hair up, but I just gave her a business card of mine, and my head was shaved. And she looked at me, and she looked at the card and said, you look better with your head shaved. Thelma from Good Times. Like, being shaved head in the black communities, man, that's normal. Tupac, LL Cool J, a star. And that's part of the game, too, the cultural aspect. I'll get into that in a second. But like I said, you get some men who will say that, but then I'm getting women based on keeping their head shaved. Several who even told me I needed to shave it. I'm like, okay, if it works. But that's part of my game, part of my attractive piece. And, you know, and I mentioned the cultural thing. It's always an environment, what environment you in, what social class you in, you know? That's part of the game too. What's the social dynamics? What's the main dynamics of whatever social class you're in? You know? Like, I've talked about class a lot and said I've been exposed to everything from the lumpen proletariat to the upper classes. And one of the things I saw was the dynamics are different in how everybody interacts. So it's like, you know, on one level I can dress however, you know, looking all like rough blue collar, but then on another level I need to dress professional. And that's with anybody. You gotta say, where you at? What do y'all talk about in that environment? Or say you in an environment where it's a religious environment, like a church environment, you know? Talking about the shadow world in a public church environment is probably not gonna work. You know? And then, you know, honestly, that's a major part of game too. You still gotta communicate. Now, see, stupidly, some people say, well, nah, you don't need game, just talk. How you talking to them? See, you got to know what to say, what's appropriate to talk about, you know? What's appropriate to talk about. Like, if you meet some woman, you know, talking about religion or politics right away, and 90% of the cases, it's not going to work. You're probably going to annoy them. But that depends on the environment there, too. Now, if you in a church or other spiritual environment and you talking religion, like some get-together, some social event or something like that, and it's sponsored by a spiritual temple or church or spiritual organization, oh yeah, you could talk religion all day. But if you at the club, if you at the dance club and stuff and you talk it, that's not going to work. It's probably going to turn them off. Or if you talking politics, if you at a specifically political type of event, which when I was in D.C., I would go to some gatherings that was strictly political. You could talk politics all day. But once again, do I do that at the club? See, it's all about the dynamics, but it's all about the environment you're in. Let me shout out Master Teacher BGS, because he broke down game in the greatest way possible, just down to his bare bones. You know, your bait. See, that's the attraction. What are you using for attraction? And even before that, see, I always put bait first because I'm one of those persons that I can go in any environment and switch up. But really, environment. What environment you in? Like your game at a job. Like in general, you shouldn't try to holler at women on a job because you can get Me Too situations, harassment, all of that. But the reality is people still hooking up on a job. So whatever game, how you master that, you can still get some woman or something. But you can't go the same way you do if you see that woman walking down the street and you don't know. So that's, your game there is, okay, you got to, first of all, get to know. You got to see if this is a person you can trust before you even think about doing anything romantic. You got to navigate that. So how you even talk to them on a job, because you can't, like on the street, even though I highly recommend against it, yeah, you can see some woman, she got that nice body. And you could probably say, hey, girl, you fine as shit on the street. Now, she might get annoyed. She might curse you out. Or she might be like, hee, 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 hee. All right, on the street. You do that shit on the job, hell, you sitting in human resources. So part of the game is, okay, what you going to do? Where are you going to do it? What environment are you in? What can you say at this place? What could you say at that place? What's the situation? Because you got to look at the whole situation. And then you got to know, okay, I shouldn't talk about this here, but I could probably talk about it there. Okay, environment. Then your bait. See, like that gentleman whose video I saw where he had mentioned, and I ain't save it. I don't never save shit. I just see it and say, oh. And plus, I don't like putting people on the spot like that. I mentioned I saw it somewhere, but I'd rather discuss the issue than the person. Let me just go on a tangent real quick. Too often when people have a disagreement with something, they focus more on the person instead of saying focus on the issue. That's why I don't call any names, or rare that I do. I focus on the issue. And the issue was, they didn't think, dude was talking just attraction, but if you talk about bait, okay, why are you wearing the clothes that you wear? Why are you wearing the shoes that you wear? When you leave the house, why are you going to the barber? Why are you cutting your hair a certain way? Why are you shaping your beard a certain way? Because it worked. Now you might try, I just like it this way. Okay, but if a woman came up and said, well, I don't like that haircut, and you get enough women to say it, you're going to change your shit up. But you let the barber bless you, and you see that a certain haircut works for you, like I said earlier. It worked for me if I shave my head. And usually if I do, like when I go through periods when I want to go monk mode, which I do go, like if I want to focus on something, that's when you'll see the hair really grow out. I'm not trying to pull anybody. So, and it might be some women who like it, but I got to go with the odds. But that's the thing. Now somebody else, they might have to let that shit grow in the locks or something. Or they might have to get that fade. But that's still appearance. That's still saying, okay, this is what, even if you don't want to acknowledge it, that's game. And then the conversation, that's the main part of it. How you going to interact? How you going to flow with it? That shit, that's probably like the main part. Because often a woman will see a man, they can be in a good environment. It's perfect. You can have some good bait. Whatever she likes is bait, Your physicality, your looks, your body build, your height, all that stuff. You got a nice style, you got a nice fit. You're around the proper social class that would, you in a social class that she will find attractive, or at least appear to be. All right, still got to talk. And then how you have that conversation. Like, I'm going to tell you what, I remember somebody years ago, elder said, hey, Rom, you should teach men how to really meet women. And I was like, no, that's easy. Why should I, spend time on that? I'm seeing I should have listened to him better. I should have listened to my elders better. Because a lot of guys don't really know how to actually just talk. Just talk to them. And just have, a flow conversation. Know how to flow back and forth. In fact, me and Cousin T-Tar talked about that during a collaboration we did. That jazz, it got to flow. When you have a conversation with a woman, you can't have a bunch of set lines. That shit don't work, because for one simple reason. Only thing women have in common is being biologically female. And notice I said biologically. You got some women who got more masculine energy. You got some women got more feminine energy. They going to be different. In fact, even with their anatomy, all vaginas don't look the same. So all of that comes into it. And my bottom line is, other than all sharing the same gender, and shoot, there's arguments about that. We won't get into that, okay? But other than the same biological gender, I'll put it that way. I know somebody's still going to get pissed. I'll just delete the comment. You say the wrong thing, I'll block the comment. Anyway, right? Despite that, every woman is different. So, some guys I've had guys hit me up and say, well, what can I say to make her sleep with me? Or what can I say to her? What do we talk about? I don't know. It depends on the woman. You got to flow with it. But I submit this, and this is something I'm talking about on Rom TV. I got a new series called Reading Choosing Signals and Receptiveness. And I'm going to be talking about that. Plus, I got other videos on, just check out Rom TV in general. Because I talk about reading women's class and stuff like that. You got to know what to talk about, what to switch up, and how to flow. First of all, you got to just know. And like I said, then the environment comes in where you at. Like, you probably don't want to talk about the strip club at a church event. So you got to switch up. It depends. You can't say, if you say this to a woman. Like, I really don't like these videos and say, if you say this to a woman, you can get her 99% of the time. Bullshit. I'm going to call it straight bullshit. Because it's so much. It's so much go into it. Like that church strip club example I keep using. If you talk to that woman about a strip club while you talking to her in a church, it probably turn her off. But you see that same woman on the street or outside a dance club, shit, she might be like, yeah, let's go. She might want to go. Shit. You got to know when, one thing I understand in social dynamics is when to talk, when not to talk, what to talk about. And then you got to be able to read that woman. Okay, what environment are you in? Okay, if y'all in a certain environment, you already got something to talk about. If you're at a sporting event, you might meet somebody at the game or something, and y'all start talking. Okay, you already got something in common you can talk about. Now, once again, if you meet her at a funeral, talking about the sporting event probably won't work. So that's important. That's game, though. You got to know. Wait a minute. Had to catch that light. But here's the thing, though, right? That's part of game. See, it's all the social dynamics. And see, having game means you've mastered it. It's just like saying, like if they talk about a basketball player who's really good, they have good game. That's why they call guys who are successful with women players. They know how to play the game. They know how to master those social dynamics. So you got to know, okay, you meet some woman, okay, where y'all at? What's the situation? You gotta do a sit rep. What's the situation? Oh, okay. Yeah, we in this environment. Probably shouldn't talk about this or this, but this is open. And then the environment can actually give you something to talk about. Y'all see something in common. Like I love this example. I saw because I love natural soaps. I'm in a local store, Sprouts, and had a good conversation with this woman, and it was over where they had a bunch of handmade soaps. But that was a situation. That was the environment. We shopping for something. We looking at the same shit. We automatically got something in common to talk about. That's the key. You got to say, even if you don't know anything about it, like say, okay, the soap situation. Say I don't know anything. I've never used natural soaps. I see her looking at it. Automatically, I got a question. I got to open it. I say, hey, yeah, I never use natural soaps. How are they? Boom. And then if she's someone who likes natural soaps and she's really looking at it, she's going to have some expertise in it. And she can really talk, right? She can really talk about it. Women, people in general, really, but we'll do it just man gets woman in this one. Women in general, they like to talk about what they know. They like to talk. All you have to do is listen and ask questions appropriately. See, you got the opening. Now, that's just the environment. Okay, you in that environment. Okay. But then you still have to have a bait. You still need to be dressed well. You don't need to be like, it's not always about, let me be clear, because some dudes think, well, we're handsome or not. Women respond differently on different things. It's not just you handsome. They responding off of like your physicality, your clothes, do you look clean? Even how you say something. You know, they like the tone of your voice, if you smelling good. So they paying attention to all of that. So okay, situation again. I don't know anything about the soaps. I did, but just an example. I don't know anything. I say, oh yeah, what's up with these soaps? She's gonna look real quick and say, Now, if she looks and doesn't like what she see, she might just say, oh yeah, there's some good stuff, and then try to get out of the conversation. But there's some game there too. I'm gonna get into that in a second. But if she like what she sees, she continues the conversation. She'll talk more. It's like, oh, okay, you look good. Let me see what's up. She'll talk more, because every time a woman looks at a man, there's always a sexual component. There's always a sexual component. So that's an important thing. All right? That's always an important thing. So, that's when a woman, and that's something else too with the game, what I said earlier, like she might look at you and say she don't really like what you look like, but that's understanding too, and how you respond to that. Like she might say something there, like she say something like she ain't really interested, and say, oh yeah, just good. Oh, okay, cool, thank you. You in the conversation. So you got to know when you can like pursue something and when just to walk away quietly, because you got to read her in the situation. And then, let's talk about the sex thing. That's a part of it too, because part of how a woman's going to look at you in the game is a sexual dynamic. She's making a decision really on the first thing. Okay, can he get it? Can he not get it? Now, usually it's tougher when it's easier. It opens the door when she say he can get it. That means she finds you physically attractive, whatever turns her on sexually. And once again, that's still the entire package. Some guys think it's just the face, but dude could just have a print showing. Or he might have a demeanor or everything look like he gonna tear some shit up. So they looking at that. They looking at your whole body. They want to think, okay, is this the type of guy I want to see naked? What's his posture? So that's playing a part too. Could he get it or not? Now that changes up things. Now if you say you can get it, okay, you still got to talk to her and all of that. But if she thinking, nah, he can't get it, conversation becomes harder. Now, sometimes you can grow on the woman. Sometimes you can grow on the woman. Sometimes, but it depends once again on environment, conversation. Like her first thought might be nah. But then say it's at a workshop or something, a seminar. Like she see you at first, but you presenting the seminar. All right, she ain't feeling you at first, but you the presenter. You're the talk. Okay, she started thinking, oh, wait a minute, he's a presenter. Let me see what he's talking about. You talking, you say some stuff that she finds interesting. All of a sudden, she started rethinking it. Like a woman do change their mind. They do change their mind. The key to it is don't try to force them to change their mind. Anybody think they can force a woman to do something, well, they lying to you. They just straight line. All right? But here's the thing with that. Or it could be that, and that's just one example. It could be you just get a chance to talk to her. And the woman started laughing, and all of a sudden you start looking better in her eyes. But that's part of the game too. That's a little bit harder because it depends on the circumstance. That's environment too, because maybe it's on a job. Many women they'll get with a man, cheat with a man on their jobs because they got to know him. But once again, it's all the social dynamics, how you master it. See, the game is the mating dynamics, the mating social dynamics. And having game is being able to master that. See, a lot of guys don't have it. And then they actually do themselves a disservice because they don't have enough game to realize, hey, it's just semantics. It's still the dynamics. It's still the bottom line. And if you got a woman, like a guy say, well, I got my woman and I didn't use any game. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. How were you dressed? How were you dressed when you met her? What did y'all talk about? That's your game. However you got it, that's your game. You don't have to use the term, but we got to deal with reality. We got to deal with reality. So, anyway. Yeah. And look, I'll just say this. Don't get too caught up in, look, here's the thing. Don't get caught up in the semantics. Don't. And if somebody say they don't, if somebody challenge them like this, say, okay, you get women? And if they say, yeah, how you do it? Well, I'm just straight up with them. That's your game. Mention Alan Roger Curry to them. You know? Well, I lie, cheat, and stuff. Even though you don't like that, I ain't down for that, but it's a game. Too many people think that's just the game. You know? Whatever you do. Well, I'm a good church guy. I do a game. That's part of your attraction. What do you talk about with women? That's your game. It's just that simple, yo. It's just that simple. Don't make it more difficult than it has to be. All right? You know, how do you present yourself? You don't let your hair go all raggedy or stuff, and you washing up, you putting on clothes, everything. Shoot, you keeping yourself in decent shape. That's game. Because you got to do that to attract a woman. That's game. You got to talk to her. That's game. Shoot, even how you have sex with her, that's game. You know, whatever you do, how you manage it, if you're interacting with a woman, that's all the game. That's all the game. Having game means you're good at it. A lot of guys just ain't good at social interactions. And that's what they need to work on. They got to work on it. You know? You work on it, boom. You know? It's one of the best ways. That's why if you look at players, real players, not only are they good with women, but they cool people. You'll find that they cool people. You can throw them anywhere. They can shoot the breeze because it's all social interactions. All right? So anyway, that's all I got for today, y'all. I'm going to get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.